Hello and welcome to another training video, and this video will answer a question I was asked yesterday about how to convert numbers from the French format and maybe other European and possibly Russian formats into UK format. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, if you just look over here you can see that the French sometimes enter in the thousandths separator as a full stop, and the comma will represent the decimal that would separate the pence from the pounds. And of course, Excel can't recognize this as figures and numbers, and we can't calculate with it, and it's certainly not accepted within the UK. So what do we do to change it? Well, there's a number of different functions we're going to look together to do, and one of the main ones is the substitute function. So if we click on B2 and we're going to type in equals and then start typing in substitute, there's the function. That's good. So the way the substitute function works is firstly you click on the text that you want to replace the text in, basically. So in this case we're going to replace the full stop. We're going to type in a comma, and then within quotation marks we type the text that we want to replace. So in this case it's the full stop. We type in another comma. Now we want to type in the text that we want to replace the full stop with. So in this case we're going to put in double quotation marks, which basically means we're going to replace it with nothing. We type another comma in, and then if we type a 1 in there because we want it to start at the beginning. So if we close off our brackets and press enter, and we can see that the full stop has been replaced with nothing. Well, so far so good. Now what I want to do is I want to deal with that comma separately, the comma 88. I want to deal with that a little bit, maybe in cell C2. So I just want this substitute function to apply to the pounds, not to the pence. So basically everything up to the last 3 characters. So we're going to use a function called left. So let me just double click on my function here. I'm going to go over to A2. Instead of doing the whole of the A2 cell, I'm going to use the left function. There it is. I'm going to press tab on the keyboard to complete that. So that's going to be the left function of A2. I type in a comma there. And how long I want that to be? Well, I want it to be basically whatever the length of A2 is minus 3. So that will minus the 2 units for the pence and the full stop. So I can use this other function here, length, L-E-N. There's length there. Press tab to complete. The length of A2, close off that brackets, minus 3. And then close off my brackets for the left. If I press enter on the keyboard, you can see that now I have my units there, my pounds, but they don't include the pence. So now let's deal with the comma, shall we? So if we go to C2 and click on C2, again we'll use the substitute function. So we type in equals and there's substitute. I press tab to continue there. Again, let's look at the text we want to substitute. So in this case it's A2. Type in a comma. And then what's the text we want to substitute? Well, we want to substitute the comma within A2, so that's the one for the comma 88. Okay, then we type another comma in, and then what do we want to replace that with? Well, in this case, we want to replace that with a full stop. So we type a full stop in. Type a comma in there, and we'll start from instance number 1. And then close off our substitute function and press enter, and you can see now that the comma that was in A2 has now been replaced with a full stop. Now, just like with the function we did with B2, I don't want to apply that to the whole of that, the whole of the information in A2. I just want to apply to the last 3 digits or the last 3 characters. So how do I do that? Well, again, I'm going to use not left this time, but right. So if I go down here to A2, just make sure I'm in A2 there, and then what I'll do here is I'm going to type in right. So this function basically will only include so many characters counting in from the right hand side, and seeing as the pence is always 2 characters and a full stop, that will always be 3 characters. So if I just use the mouse and click after A2, type in a comma and type in 3, because it's always 3 characters, that's fine. We can press enter, and so now we can see that separated up. Now finally we need to bring them together and convert them from a text field or a text entry into a number, so we can then calculate and apply currency formatting to it. So we click on D2. Firstly, let's show how we concatenate or join them together. So type the equals on the keyboard and click on B2. We'll then go to ampersand and click on C2. We press enter. We can see they're brought together. And finally, to convert them from text, or that figure from text, which is what Excel presently recognizes this number here in D2 as, to a number, if I just double click on D2 to go into cell editing mode, if I just go before B2 here, and then I'm going to type in the function that does that, which is value. So you can see value here, just double click on that, and then I'm just going to go to the end and be tidy and close off my brackets and press enter. And we can see what I previously had done is formatted that as accounting or currency. Doesn't matter. Accounting is this little button here, or you can use this little drop down menu from the top to go down to and click on accounting. And now it is a figure that can be handled just like any other number in Excel. It can be calculated, added to. And the beauty of this is if, say for instance, they type in something like 56,000 in the French way, 412 pounds and 67 pence, when I press enter, you can see that the number is updated now to the UK format. Thanks very much for watching and making it through to the end of the video. There is an exercise file and further instructions can be found on the computer tutoring website. That is if you're watching this video on YouTube, and you're more than welcome to visit and view other videos for Excel and many other programs that we train.